Look at the adjective. Play.
And I have half the brain that you do. I told you. Oh, God.
Now is the franchise going to take the Viagra?
Gonna put some butts in the seat.
Hello there, wrestling fans, and welcome to episode number 86 of Because WCW, the podcast where the big boys play. My name is the Twisted Genius, Dean A.S., and joining me, as always, in this golden age of podcasting is DAZN sports journalist and features editor of hookedonwrestling.co.uk, my good pal Liam Happ. Good evening, Liam. How are you doing?
Oh, wow. You went for a really nice introduction today.
You know what that means next time around.
Yeah, next time. I'm the Twisted Genius, Dean S., and this is a blue tick fucking wanker.
Yep.
Right, that's my swearing quota done out of the way.
Yep.
Now to get through the next hour and a half without issuing a single swear word. Do you think I can do that?
Fuck no.
Do you know what? I've set myself a challenge. I'm going to try. Let's see if I can do my first ever outside of the swear words at the start. Let's see if I can do the actual broadcast without one swear word.
Okay, there is the challenge. There is the challenge. So we are crossing our fingers, ladies and gentlemen, because we did try and record this before. This is the second attempt. It's a Nitro Watchalong today, by the way, but this is the second attempt because we tried this a week ago and were beset with technical gremlins. And I believe it's all because I made the fatal error, Liam, of tweeting beforehand that we were recording an episode that night.
Absolute rookie mistake. But I will say I was very proud of us. We recognised we hadn't actually got to the watch along part. We were still doing our introduction, and we took that realization with the errors we were already getting and the issues we were already experiencing. We thought, you know what, if it's going to be like this, maybe we just bow and go to bed early.
Yeah,
which may or may
like
not
that.
have been the overriding decision, is getting to go to bed early because we have both been absolutely shattered.
Absolutely knackered. It has been non-stop this week. I can't believe that the week is going so quickly. I'd have thought like being shut in a house all day would make things go slowly, but not at all. It's flying by. Yeah, I've just been working. What's been happening in Hap Towers?
Well, the main thing adding to the fun and games at the minute is we are finally getting the master bedroom and both passageways, including the stairways. They've needed plastering so that we can then paint them nicely, set up everything we want. We've got a lovely kitchen that we expand one day. We made our daughter's bedroom nice and livable and nice looking right from the off. But long-term listeners will remember I mentioned being in a new house very early on. I think it might have been like May, yeah, it was May 2018. So whichever episodes we did around then, so we moved into this house, and obviously it's easy enough to live in here, but those crucial first steps in those aforementioned rooms, we are finally doing it. It just means that we've got to live in an absolute madhouse with we've got like the bedroom dressing chest of drawers all down in the front room, and the coats are all on a pile hung over the armchair, and until we can actually get back our regular bedroom and passage space. But it's going to look the business when it's done.
So what I'm hearing is that you are getting your passages plastered.
Not going to dignify that with a response.
Fair enough. So we are on episode number 38 of Monday Nitro. And if you remember, the last Nitro watch along we did was episode 84. And that was the infamous episode dated, of course, May the 27th, 1996, where the match that we were all looking forward to between Steve Doll and the Mauler
was ruined.
It was ruined, quite frankly, by a selfish prick walking through the crowd like he owned the venue and going, "Hey yo!" Scott Hall debuted, and it sent the WWF legal department into turmoil because of the image, the kiss curl, the accent. It was intellectual property, they screamed. So shall we see if we'll see this week if anything gets turns down and tamed a bit.
Yeah, indeed. But I'm sure they're screaming intellectual property on the outside, but on the inside, they're like, oh no, we're going to have to actually make an effort here because competition is giving us a run for our money, which, as we know, to Vince McMahon is the worst possible scenario.
Yeah, and of course, let's not forget that they then created a new Razor Ramon and Diesel because they owned the intellectual property to those characters, and we all know how well that went.
Yeah, what a fantastic response that was.
Yeah.
Listen up, slapnuts. That's right. This is Jeff Jarrett, the chosen one, and you're listening to Because WCW. Now choke on that.
Right. So if you want to watch along with us, then we have got Monday Nitro from June the 3rd, 1996. That was the original broadcast date of this episode. And we have got it queued up on 00000, as always. So, Liam, are you ready?
I am super duper ready, Dino.
Okay, boys and girls at home, are you ready? I think that's a yeah.
I think I heard a couple of yeses, yeah.
Yeah. I definitely heard one of our listeners in Parts Unknown say something.
Absolutely.
So we will press play in 3, 2, 1, play. Burning buildings are a-coming.
I have buildings, and now, yes, they are burning.
Hulk Hogan's still in the intro.
Indeed. I just realised something. We've now reached June of 2016. We are starting to get up to the... when exactly was the opening ceremony and first game of Euro 96?
Oh,
that's when we're starting to flirt with.
It would definitely be June 96.
It's coming home. It's coming home. Sorry.
So I haven't got used to this yet. Tony Schiavone is opening the show and introducing us to Monday Nitro, of course, because Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko do the first hour. There they are. And what the hell is Zbyszko wearing? That's one hell of a shirt.
Oh. Well, he's always referred to as a master of human chess in the ring, and he's literally wearing a chessboard shirt or ascot on his shirt. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this is the second time we've had this set up because this was the start of the first 2-hour one last time out, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing the first hour, and they're at ringside, as you can see there, and then Eric Bischoff and Bobby Heenan are up in the booth as before. Did they say something about the Rock and Roll Express then?
Yeah.
Hang on. I'm just going to have a look at the. Yes, we have got Ric Flair and Arn Anderson against the Rock and Roll Express, which is going to be
interesting.
Quite an interesting match. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're already publicising Bobby Heenan actually being in the Horseman's Corner for that match at the pay-per-view.
Yeah. No, he didn't. Well, he didn't manage anyone, did he? At WCW, he's only ever commentating. So it's an unusual, unusual move for him. We're just seeing now a recap from last week's Nitro, where he's Big Bubba at this point, isn't he? Shaved John Tenter's head. Shark. There you go. Shark with half his head shaved. Billed as well over £500. Surely that's more than he was billed before.
And just before they introduced him, am I right in spotting that Big Bubba and Jimmy Hart are in the ring? But Mean Gene's introducing this as a... Yeah. I don't think this is a match.
So he's still kept his half-shaved head, and yes, Bubba is... There you go, Bubba is in the ring.
He's positioning himself so you can't see it at first.
Mm.
I like that. Nice little touch. They still somehow have the hair in their hand.
Oh, there you go. We see it now.
This is
So,
quite the infamous promo, if I remember.
So he's basically saying that he's deliberately not shaved the other half of his head because it makes him he has to look at it every day, and he's getting laughed at by his neighbours.
Here
Oh,
we
I'm
go.
not the shark. I'm not a fish. Oh, I'm not
This
an avalanche.
is
I'm a
the
man.
infamous "I'm not a shark, I'm a man" promo. This came before all of the. Do you know we got to a point where the likes of Vince Russo just absolutely did the I'm not this character, I'm not this gimmick, I'm
Yes.
a real person thing to death. Long before any of that got hackneyed, we had this. Oh, it looks like we do have a match.
Mm.
The
I mean,
referee's in the ring.
his ring attire is really weird because he's wearing black tights and he's wearing a plain blue top, uh, like his original Earthquake gear, and it's very much a sort of a mismatch of stuff. But I guess that goes to show that he's not, he's not quite got his image because he's all over the place as not an avalanche, not a shark. He's John Tenter.
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, everyone in the wrestling industry loves John Tenter. And
Yes.
obviously, he passed on from cancer a while back now. But it's fair to say he always did have a outside of that run with Hogan, which drew money because it was Hogan versus Monster. There was always a ceiling to what he could do, and he was never really going to be more than this sort of a feud. But for a big man, his work was always quite good. Everyone
Oh
loved
God,
him,
absolutely.
and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is basically as far as it's going to get, and we've already covered the climax of this, haven't we? Oh, it's a match is over.
I think Bubba's run off basically.
Yeah.
Because John Tenter had those scissors, which he's still got in his hand. He was going to cut Bubba's hair, and Bubba's scarpered basically.
Well, what I like there is yeah, somehow Rogers has pulled out this clump of the hair. It looks like he's collected it from last week apparently. As Tenter's talking, he's throwing the hair around the ring, and so for a couple of minutes that they actually are wrestling, they're wrestling in his hair, which I thought was a nice
Yes.
little visual touch.
But yeah, I've forgotten about that. The infamous "I'm not a fish, I'm not an avalanche."
Mm. So that was like a fair enough for like an act one for their feud, wasn't it? We think
Mm.
few minutes of action, no finish, setting up the climax comes at Bash at the Beach '96, as well as
Yep,
several
which,
other
as you say, we
significant things.
covered. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've got another match. Well, Sting and Lex Luger on in the second half of the
That's stemming
Sting and
from
Lex Luger against the Steiner Brothers.
stemming from that main event last week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, here's a tag team from the WCW archives. High
Are these guys from the
voltage.
power plant?
Very good.
I mean, there's that wasn't even an intended pun. I've just realised what I said. Now, I was going to say, is this like an example of we've expanded to 2 hours? We're going to have to kind of scrape things a bit to get a roster together. I'd imagine this kind of thing maybe is what led to WCW signing everyone up, especially when they went to 3 hours, and they seem to have so many people that they're able to do a 3-ring 60-man battle royal pay-per-view.
Indeed. Well, one thing we do know that's been documented in every reliable report or book or recollection that's been done since those demise is that they had no idea how to adequately use their staff. All the stories of flying in wrestlers, even though they weren't scheduled to wrestle and they didn't do anything, but they'd fly them in anyway. They really didn't get a gauge of exactly what the magic number would be for how
Yeah.
many people they should have on staff. And you yourself, as a manager, Dean, I don't mean as a wrestling manager, but as a daytime manager, you know the importance of of being able to have the right amount of staff on your team and being able to run a rota.
Yep, absolutely.
They couldn't do that.
No. So it is high voltage, ruckus and chaos. I don't know which one's which. And they're against Meng and the Barbarian, the faces of fear.
Future tag team champion. I'm not talking about high voltage, just chaos. Because he would hold it with Rick Steiner.
Oh, okay. But, I mean, these guys are going to get guided through a good TV match by the Face of Fear. You know that much.
We've long documented how they're solid hands. And obviously not the sort of people you want to cross in a bar.
Well, Carl Conroy that we had on the show previously, he did a tour of Scotland with Meng and with Barbarian, and says that he was the nicest wrestler, the easiest going man they'd ever worked with, basically.
I mean, I know there are some unsavory characters who can handle themselves, but I always find the majority of people who you do not want to mess with are very soft and mild mannered because they know they don't have to give it. They don't have to sling their muscle around.
They don't have to give it the big I am because you know they are already. Absolutely. And I did briefly meet Meng many years ago, and he was a very nice bloke, and exactly that, just quiet, softly spoken. Seemed like a nice bloke. Didn't bite my nose off. What more can I ask for?
Pump handle.
Yep. It seems that high voltage's selling consists of arching their back up immediately after they land.
Given that they're getting viciously dumped on their back at every opportunity, I'll only be partly critical of the one-dimensional nature of their selling. If they start arching their back after receiving a DDT, then we'll have a word with them. Oh dear, wow! He was gonna be arching his back in a second.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Belly to belly superplex. And I gotta say, even though this is a nothing match, the live crowd are really into just watching Barbarian ragdoll this dude.
Yeah. I liked as well the way they sold it when they were excited that they'd landed some moves. It was the sort of what I call the Joey Maggs fist pump.
Yeah.
Oh, we got them in opposite corners. And diving headbutt from Meng and from Barbarian and a splash from Meng.
We've seen them do that finish before where they both come off opposite turnbuckles and hit the diving headbutts. Here's a thrust kick.
And that was an awesome looking thrust kick, I have to say.
That was a great squash match. Let's just have it on the table. They hit big moves that got the live crowd energetic. It was over within 3 minutes. That's a squash match.
Yeah.
I was gonna refer to that double diving headbutt they did. The tag partner made the save, so I had to add the thrust kick to finish. But that double diving headbutt, I'm trying to remember what episode it was that we discussed at length how you watch Meng and the Butt, and here's the replay. Watch the knees; they get the knees there, which is, I mean, landing on your knees is still gonna add up over the years, isn't it? But considering what we know about the diving headbutt move when you just throw yourself neck first at someone, they're at least being a little bit clever about it. But I still maintain the flying headbutt off the top is the worst wrestling move in wrestling.
Well, I have to stop you there, Liam, because Mean Gene is backstage with the World Tag Team Champions Sting and Lex Luger, and I am wondering what the deal is between the two of them.
You know what? I've been wondering for a while. Oh, he's got a different question. What's going to be left of Lex Luger after tonight?
Oh.
So yeah.
Who's going to lose their train of thought first, Luger or Sting?
So we're building into this bit of a feud between who are normally friends, the Steiners and Sting and Luger. Bear in mind that the next pay-per-view, it's Sting versus Regal and Luger challenging for the world title. So this is a weird, it's a very curious side feud when they've got plenty to be promoting. Like, hey, I'm not Eric Bischoff. I'm not the booker of a major promotion. What do I know?
I like the fact that Sting's face paint matches his tights.
Yeah,
But
he's
you know how
full-blown dark hair
all of
now.
us. Yeah, I was going to say, you know how all of us have got that awkward lockdown hair. That's Sting. Look at him. That is Sting has got lockdown hair 25 years before lockdown hair was a thing.
Right, in this new edition of the lockdown, I think it's fair to say there's a lot of people who are Sting circa early '97 when he's up in the rafters.
Yes.
So
Luger's
Luger's
still going on.
he has, but he's showing no signs of the character that's been cultivated over the first 5 months of the year.
Yeah. Well, I think that he is now going full-fledged babyface because,
Here come the Steiners,
oh,
accusing Sting and Luger of cheap shots.
oh. Well, they're all just trying to win a wrestling match, for God's sake. Poor Mean Gene is trying to point the microphone in front of the person that's talking here.
This
Oh.
is a
Lex Luger, you get me, miss me.
yeah. If anyone thought that meme of Scott Steiner talking utter gibberish was a TNA era only thing, no. 1996, he was very much shoves.
Oh, come on. 1990, after they won the Pat O'Connor Memorial Tag Tournament, he couldn't string a sentence together then.
I think Mean Gene's going to put them all on the naughty step.
Yeah, Mean Gene will never interview them again, apparently.
Oh, that's it. They're done. It's curtains for them, Dean.
These stipulations in wrestling that don't get adhered to, eh?
I know. I love to see that. The loser doesn't get to interview with Mean Gene.
Ever again.
If Ric Flair was in that match, I think Mean Gene would interfere on his behalf just to make sure he still gets to see woman.
Yes. Well, we now got a montage of Hogan, who's been gone for months.
Yeah.
Just
Virtuous Hogan smashing killer heel and world champion the Giant with a steel chair.
For no reason at all. And there's a disco glitter ball, so that can only mean one thing, Liam.
Max Payne.
Yep.
Sorry, I got the wrong genre, didn't I?
I think you did there.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's a mashup. I'd be pleased to see.
It's the man that Rob McNichol is willing to pretend is a decent wrestler if it's the last thing he does. It's Disco Inferno.
Twitter's favourite, Disco Inferno.
Yeah. I think, I think it's fair to say that Disco Inferno is the game shows of wrestling. He's like that horrible genre, just like game shows are on TV. He's that horrible genre of wrestler.
Is he the blankety blank of WCW?
Yeah, any game show, they're all horrid. I'm just trying to insult everything Rob holds dear. I'll be going after Bristol Rovers next.
Plymouth Argyle's his team. Bristol Rovers is who he works for. Big difference.
Oh, look at you now.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it, all those football teams over that side of the country, they're all the same.
Yeah. Oh, it's Sergeant Craig Pittman with Teddy Long. Do you remember he was looking for a manager and he's found one?
Yeah, I believe this is his second appearance with Teddy Long, at least on the Nitros, as we kind of opined. We weren't privy to these developments because Saturday Night was getting all the storylines, but that won't be the case for much longer.
Yeah, Teddy Long, who is in his eating a tub of Haagen-Dazs before the show phase, by the looks of things, like I could talk.
Well, Jimmy Hart actually fat-shamed him on one episode of Nitro, didn't he?
Did he?
We're talking about Pittman, right?
No, Teddy Long.
Ah, well, no, they're both in that boat. But you remember when Pittman was trying to get Jimmy Hart to...
Oh, yes.
And he fat-shamed him.
Yes, he did, didn't he? I remember now. So he looks like he's lost weight, and Teddy Long looks like he's found it, basically.
Have you got Monday Nitro fever, Dean? Disco's bottom does.
I thought I had Monday Nitro fever, but it turned out to be COVID-19.
Oh, wow.
Oh dear, that went badly wrong, didn't it?
Now, it couldn't have got. It must have been a optical illusion, because we know that Disco Inferno is a fantastic professional wrestler.
Well, I think Pittman was trying to block the arm drag, which he kind of did, but it looked really, really awkward. There were surely better ways to do that. Hey.
Well, they're going to insist on keeping with these basic exchanges, or until the eye poke.
Oh, but he's now dancing. It looks like he's trying to seduce Teddy Long.
That's one thing he can do, Disco, is play to the crowd.
Oh, I thought he meant seduce Teddy Long.
Oh, that too, sorry.
Disco has to stop selling to be covered for a pinfall attempt.
Was he seducing Teddy Long, or was he asking him to make it a tag team match player?
With The Undertaker.
One-on-one with The Undertaker. Yes,
Right,
that
Disco
was my
in
poor
business now.
impression of Teddy Long.
And Disco tried to punch Pittman in the head and just hurt his own hand. So we're informed that Pittman's got a very hard head, even though he's not Samoan.
Wait, what?
Hey, what's happened?
Disco Inferno
Disco...
gave up before he was put in the move.
Yes. Submitted. He's just explained to the camera he submitted because if Pittman had put him in the code red arm breaker, he wouldn't be able to dance anymore.
Oh man, see that is how you use a Disco Inferno. Very simple move, ham to the crowd. Very simple move, ham to the crowd. Silly comedic finish, get him out of the ring. There's Disco management. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Just a quick clip of a to-do there between Regal and Sting.
That just puts over the code red as a dangerous move.
It does indeed. The reason why I was so taken aback by that little teaser of the Sting Regal situation was because there was Regal clad in a suit, looking very much like the William Regal we would come to know, who flirted with a main event more than once in WWE, very much looking like Sting's equal.
Ooh.
So the build for this has been good so far, other than him calling Alex Wright Jr. Adolf at the last edition of Nitro.
Yeah. But Regal looks disgusted with the people. Oh, now he's got a man that I think, as far as characters go, is the complete antithesis, the complete opposite of Lord Steven Regal, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
See, this makes good sense as a match leading into Regal versus Sting.
Oh, yeah.
But I won't lie, I would watch the hell out of Regal versus Duggan on the undercard of a pay-per-view.
Yeah. Regal's facial expressions are going to be tremendous as he is appalled by Duggan.
This has match number 2 or 3 of a pay-per-view all over it, doesn't it?
Yep. Definitely.
Hot opener, tag teams or cruiserweights, tear the house down, stick these guys in. A bit of crowd interaction.
The result of this is obvious because we know that Regal's got a big match at the next pay-per-view. But as we've said before, Duggan is the kind of guy who is beloved by the crowd, and he can lose this kind of a match and not be hurt by it 1 inch.
Well, he was widely tipped to be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble this year, wasn't he? And I was, not with 100% confidence, but I really didn't think it would happen. Main reason being is if they were to ever get that opportunity to have him do a Rumble cameo, he's got live crowd. Yeah. The whole thing about having a Duggan cameo is you've got to have that crowd back. Otherwise, it's just not the same.
Definitely. So Regal is not happy with all the USA chants, obviously.
Somehow
Regal's overacting. Just Tremendous.
I was just gonna say it's that A+ camera work, and you got a Hacksaw like smiling and winking and gesturing to the fans. They have. I'm not a big fan of long stalls, but what they're doing so far is just really getting things built up, isn't it?
Yes.
Proper
There's a
hero
time
and
and a
villain.
place for a long stall, and I think this is one of them. Instantly, on the subject of hacksaws, just want to say that obviously recently we lost a WCW alumnus in Hacksaw, Butch Reed, best known in our era, I suppose, as one half of the tag team of Doom, that we have been on many of our pay-per-view reviews already, and a great loss for the wrestling world.
Yeah, it's easy to forget just how good a wrestler he was, isn't it? I saw the Dave Meltzers and the like talking about some of the singles matches he had with Ric Flair, where I
Yeah.
know like a lot of people had great matches with Ric Flair, but even before Flair hit his peak, Reed was showing his qualities in matches with Flair.
Yeah, and I know we've just started doing Clash of the Champions reviews. Our first one was in the last episode, number 85, which was Clash 17, the Rude and Sting show, basically with Joel Ross. And a couple of clashes before that was the main event of Flair v Butch Reed. So we'll probably cover that at some point in
Yeah,
the near future.
under the circumstances, I'd be bang up for fast tracking that one.
So Duggan has just been clotheslining Regal to the floor. And to the canvas and rolling out to the floor, I should say.
I was going to say, maybe this is a bit of a callback, but Regal exchanged glares with Larry Zbyszko, who he did have a bit of a program with in the mid-90s, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like a couple years before this, he had a couple of matches, I believe, with Larry Zbyszko.
And at the moment, it is all Duggan, and Regal's facial expressions are just hilarious. Yeah, we talk about the art of selling, and that is just tremendous stuff.
It's amazing how so far in the show we've had nothing remotely close to being what will be considered a great match per se, and yet it's all been fantastic so far.
It's thoroughly entertaining, and that is basically what wrestling is supposed to be: entertaining.
You had Tenta and Ray Traylor set the table for their feud, doing so in a quick, visually intriguing way that told you everything about their feud that you needed to know, and they got out of there and they left the rest for another day. You had a fantastic tag team squash with the Faces of Fear, and now you've got two masters at playing to the crowd, and even we even had after they stopped trying to actually wrestle, we had a good laugh at the antics of Disco Inferno.
Yes.
Oh, who's that coming?
And Shivani on commentary is it's Taylor and Eaton who've come to the ring, the other Blue Bloods.
Here's the 3-point stance, but there's three of them. I didn't realise that Regal's posse was that large at this point.
Yep, it was Earl Robert Eaton and Squire David Taylor, and Taylor has got the 4x4.
Yeah.
Duggan is taping his fist up, and he just smacks Eaton, and Regal rolls him up and just sneaks the win, basically.
So that was a horrible finish, which is a shame. Because they've done the big distraction thing. Duggan has hit his finisher on Regal, and he's laid out on his back. And Duggan's next move was to grab his 2x4 and attempt to bludgeon a prone Regal. And Dave Taylor has essentially just stopped him from doing that by taking the wood away.
He saved his life.
Why didn't he just, like most situations, just trip him up before the finisher or something?
Here comes Mean Gene.
Oh, Mean Gene's earned his money tonight, isn't he?
He is.
Dave Taylor's being a humanitarian. And when his 2x4 was taken away, his next move is to go for the taped fist.
Yeah.
He beats up an innocent man. I know I'm starting to sound like a heel commentator here, but Honestly, if you were heel commentating this show, then you really wouldn't have to spin things much to rationalise this.
Oh, I'd be saying that Taylor should be getting a medal or an MBE or something.
But it's not like you're putting a lot of spin on it. It's legitimately what
No.
happened.
But I thought, given that they're building Regal up for a big match with Sting, that they would give him a more convincing win.
So Gene said he was reprimanded and fined for what he did with Sting. And Regal's first comment is, it's more than most of these fans will see in a year.
And he said, I paid double, so I'm in credit. Oh, here we go. We see it again.
Oh, something's happening. Someone in the background was shouting, "Get the bloody police!"
Yeah.
But everything
He's
is all
gone
right in the
crazy.
ring.
I don't know if there was a fan getting in the ring or if.
I don't know. It's a bit confusing, but now everything's back to normal, and Dave Taylor's doing a great background man job, waving a miniature Union Jack.
Yes.
To think 10 years after this, Regal and Taylor would be quite the team in WWE.
Ooh. Yes.
They were in that infamous ladder match that smashed up Joey Mercury's face.
Yes. So there's the two of them, and of course my old mate Paul Burchill.
You know Birchall, do you?
I managed him.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
You
I
did you do some sort of legal discourse involving his career? Some sort of disclaimer.
Some sort of disclaimer about broken bones. Yeah, I can't remember exactly now. Or we've got Kevin Sullivan staring into the camera now.
Oh, heaven forbid
He's
Birchall
coming
ever
up
be
next.
found liable.
I think the WWE put him off wrestling for life.
Was that the
Be
first-hand
careful what you
account?
wish for.
Was that the first-hand account?
Couldn't possibly come. So we've now got. Oh, is there problems between the Dungeon of Doom and the Horsemen?
We are back to our favourite on-off situation between the Horseman and the Dungeon.
But did you notice that Kevin Sullivan was wearing a Hulk Hogan bandana then?
Yeah.
What's all that about?
I wish I could tell you, but clearly, as we don't watch enough Saturday Night, I don't have the answer. But this is basically the start of the infamous Benoit-Sullivan feud. So it started off with Benoit being the one saying we shouldn't be doing business with the Dungeon of Doom. And obviously at Slamboree, they were not a good team.
Not at all. So we've just seen the Public Enemy putting Benoit through a table.
With Sullivan's help.
Yes. Benoit was a serpent in the egg, apparently. So what's he saying now? He's going to do Arn and Rick a favour and squash Benoit.
This definitely feels like an attempt to do something in the absence of Brian Pillman, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, because of course Pillman was the one who was annoying Arn, wasn't he, with his antics?
You can very much see something along these lines carrying on, but now it's Benoit who's obviously playing a much straighter version than Pillman was. Pillman was clearly going to be the downfall of the Horseman, wasn't he? He was going to end up bringing it all down the way he was carrying on. Whereas Benoit is, this is our group. We shouldn't be having any business with the Dungeon. And the feud.
And Sullivan has just run into the ring and started beating the living shit out of. Is that Prince Ikea? He didn't get a chance to be introduced.
Obviously, we're a good 6 months before he would get his inspiration for his gimmick from the other promotion.
Mm.
Yeah, it's his debut.
Yes, his debut.
I'll say one thing about the squashes we've had in this show so far, Dean, is that Kevin Sullivan can do one hell of a squash match.
Oh, yes. Whether or not he's dressed up as an old lady.
Yeah, it's better when he is dressed up as an old lady or a Baywatch extra, but it looks like I mean, you can tell he's got a pay-per-view match come up because it looks like he's had a couple of sessions at the gym and hit the tanning salon for a change.
Yeah. And credit where it's due, Prince Ikea is selling this great.
Yeah. Some of these shots, it doesn't look like he needs to sell.
Oh, yeah, maybe. He's tied up in the Tree of Woe.
Time for the double foot stomp.
I was tied up in the Tree of Woe once by Ulf Herman.
I remember Ulf Herman. He was good.
Oh, he was awesome. Loved him.
So another quick and effective squash.
Yep, Shivani just described that as a mugging. That is just, as you say, a complete squash. In fact, shorter than most squashes.
But effective.
I'm going to look up how long that.
Because it's the most menacing Kevin Sullivan's looked in ages. At least on this show.
Yeah. Probably the most menacing he's been since they shaved Hogan's moustache off on one of the early Nitros.
And made him look more of a Junior Adolf than X Wright, apparently, allegedly is, according to Regal. God, Mean Gene is hustling tonight. He's back.
He's earning his crust.
And there's no woman in sight, and he's still volunteering for all these gigs.
Oh, she better turn up later.
So Jimmy Hart's moaning that he's... Yeah, Jimmy Hart's not happy with the Horseman situation.
No. They've got the giant in the Dungeon of Doom. They don't need anyone else, including the Horseman, according to Jimmy Hart.
Okay. Sullivan has a story to tell.
I just don't like Kevin Sullivan's promos. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's got an annoying drawl, and it doesn't fit his character at all. So it's like it's a double thing.
He's shorter than Mean Gene, and he's shorter than Jimmy Hart, which just looks odd.
So Sullivan says that Hulk Hogan's going to be coming for certain people when he's back in WCW. And that they are better off bonding together. It's funny how the irony of that statement will become clear in 6 weeks or so.
Yes.
They're showing footage from Super Brawl now. And they're spinning the whole Pillman thing like he ran out on the Four Horsemen and quit.
Yeah.
That whole match was such a mess. I mean, what was it supposed to achieve?
To get the smart marks talking, who are like 1% of the overall viewing public.
Yeah.
Confuse the other 99.
That strategy worked so well for WCW on countless occasions.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, that promo was garbage. Ric Flair's up next, though.
With Woman and Mean Gene.
And don't
So
forget
we
the
are
enforcer.
hyping up the match between Flair and Arn Anderson and Steve McMichael and Kevin Green, which of course all started out from Flair flirting with Deborah McMichael in the audience.
Yeah. And her crudely not accepting the champagne offer.
Indeed, and here come the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, you didn't read it wrong, Dean. It really is them.
We
Looking
look about
just as
50
old as
years
they
old.
do now. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. We both say the same thing in
They-
different ways.
They got to a point in the early 90s where they started looking extremely old and over the hill, and they've somehow managed to stay at that level for 30 years.
Yes.
They're still active, aren't they? Well, as active as COVID allows.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before the pandemic, they were definitely taking a lot of bookings.
And Flair and Anderson are wearing not just any American football shirts, they are wearing Michael and Green's shirts for their respective teams.
However, Miss Elizabeth seems hell-bent on ensuring that no one notices what they're wearing.
By wearing, go on, you say it,
It's Liz in leather, Dean.
and woman who appears to be in a nightie.
Well, she's just trying to keep her composure because she's got serious withdrawal symptoms from not cheating in a match that hopefully this tag team outing will remedy.
Or flirting with Mean Gene. But can I also just point out that something that we saw in the background there that we both didn't acknowledge, the banquet table is out.
What?
I repeat, the banquet table is out.
Right, you know what? I'm calling it. Let's stop this podcast. We've gone as far as we can. What is because WCW without the banquet table?
No, it's there. It's out, as in it's
Oh,
it's
you had me worried for.
yeah.
Be more specific, especially when I'm this tired and this stupid.
The banquet table is in position. It is in situ.
Phew. I really would have shut this podcast down if it wasn't there.
You're listening to Because Banquet Table,
The
the podcast where the big foods play. I bought duck burgers this week. I haven't eaten them yet, but I can't wait. That's Friday's treat, duck burgers.
Is this the of the foie gras variety?
No, just minced up duck.
I have at a food stall in Waterloo. I once had a foie gras duck burger. It was incredible. Then you hear the story about foie gras, and you're like, "What have I done?"
Yeah, I can't say I can't say I eat it for that very reason. But so I believe we've now got a countdown to the second hour of Nitro. They're literally counting down to what I believe is the moment that they get into competition with Raw, which is why they've put Flair out.
Either that or the ring's going to explode like an Anita match. Oh,
Yeah.
close. Fireworks.
Anderson's looking like, what the fuck's going on? Flair has left the ring.
Flair is selling the pyro.
Yeah. When the second hour of the TV show gets a bigger intro than you.
Quick sip of champagne before he tags in. That is one hell of a banquet table. They've got legitimate cold cuts on there this time.
And I like to think that when the world gets back to normal and we have the next because WCW big night out, we will have a banquet table to rival.
Absolutely. If we ever do a live version of Because WCW, maybe a Hooked
can
on
you
party,
imagine?
we need a banquet table.
Yes.
We'll take it to questions from our audience, and one of them will stand up and go, "My question to you, Dean and Liam, is this: what is the deal between Sting and Lex Luger?"
I thought the question was going to be, can I have a slice of ham? At which the answer would be, fuck off.
Well, I wouldn't say that because I don't swear anymore.
Of course you don't know. So here we go. This is Ric Flair v Ricky Morton, a match we will have seen many times before. The ultimate heel versus the ultimate babyface.
And these two have. Was it these two who had a bit of a singles run in the NWA days?
I think they did, yeah. Oh, and a big chop from Flair, which Morton sold brilliantly, then fired straight back again.
The infamous rubbing the face in the concrete angle, if I remember correctly.
Ah,
Remember that one?
no.
Horseman
Hashtag
rubbed it.
5 concussion.
Horseman just ground his face into the concrete.
Nice.
Tried to leave a Rock and Roll Express face print in a paving slab.
Oh, talking of the word nice, I was talking to a wrestling promoter, I won't say who, today, and he mentioned to me that the next show they promote will be show number 69.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now I've got to figure out what promotion is about to promote their 69th show.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to make a big deal of it in that way, though.
They should call the show Nice with a full stop at the end.
So we've got Bischoff now on the commentary with Heenan, and he's talking about the fact that Michael and Kevin Green are going to be giving up, obviously, loads of experience to Anderson and Flair, but that they might have the physical advantage because they're American football players and they're prime of their careers.
Yeah, there's always a story to tell. If you're gonna convince professional athletes from other sports into the wrestling ring, you can tell the story that they are indeed. Obviously, they've got all the physical attributes to be able to handle themselves in a competitive contact sport, but there are all these things that a wrestler knows: ring generalship, going on the ropes, working a leg, luring them into positions that are disadvantageous. I mean, as a commentator or an analyst, you can really have a field day with that sort of psychology.
Oh yeah, because the match is going, and I'm sure when we get to cover that, because we haven't done that show yet, but the match will be predominantly storyline because that's what will draw the crowd in. They're not going to watch it for the great technical wrestling. It's for the story and the entertainment. And Flair is throwing an absolute shit fit at ringside because the Horsemen are not getting their way in this match.
Shoves the referee, lands on his backside when he gets shoved back, and he retreats to the banquet table. Oh, just for a chair. I thought he was going to help himself to a couple of those delicious-looking tomatoes. I wish I was at the Ric Flair banquet table for a wrestling match. Now, that'd be a VIP option.
Oh, it's something that should be brought back. Definitely something that should be brought back. So we've now gone to a commercial break in the middle of this match.
Which is why Flair was hamming it up as well.
Yeah.
This is obviously going to be the longest match of the show so far, maybe even full stop. But we do have Steiner, Sting, Luger, don't we? So
we do.
Oh, Bischoff's trying to be an auctioneer with his commentary, with his play-by-play.
Heenan is comparing Ricky Morton and his wrestling ability to Michael and Green.
Before going to town on their actual football achievements again.
Yes. So now Flair is taken over. The odd sneaky punch. We're back now to the chops and punches routine in the corner. And Ricky Morton is basically fighting off both horsemen.
Oh, massive do-si-do in the Irish whip.
Yeah, and woman is screaming something. She hasn't been able to cheat yet. She must be really suffering. So now Anderson in the ring with a prone Ricky Morton. And he's positioned him right near the ropes, right near where Woman and Elizabeth are, which makes me wonder if look, Woman's got to be itching to just scratch someone's eyes or choke someone.
I don't know how she's coping without.
And he's thrown Morton out to the floor, and Flair is now taking over, whipping him into the guardrail.
Yeah, Flair is more than happy to do all of the cheating. It's just a bonus if he gets to do it alongside Woman.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to deliver a proper full-length match here.
They are.
Old school style.
Heenan's still going on about the fact that apparently the pay-per-view is on Father's Day, and he's telling Michael and Green to write their cards and speak to their kids the day before because their jaws will be wired shut and they won't be able to write a card by the end of the match.
Which is a weird rant to go on, because I could have swore that the oh no, never mind me. I'm thinking of Mother's Day. I was going to say Mother's Day is in May in America because it's different to ours. But yeah, they have Father's Day in June as well, don't they?
I have no idea when the Americans have their ones on. I know, yeah. I know
Ignore
we
me.
have a different Mother's Day because quite often when British people put, Happy Mother's Days on Twitter, which I always think is weird anyway, you get panicked Americans who then realise, oh no, I haven't missed it and forgotten my mum. It's the British Mother's Day, not the American Mother's
You
Day.
think that's something? You wait till they see where we drive our cars.
Oh man. This match is still going on. This is going on for bloody ages by Nitro terms, isn't it?
Extended heat period in a Rock and Roll Express tag team match? No, don't be daft.
I suppose this is an advantage of a 2-hour Nitro. You can have longer matches.
And that's variety being the spice of life. Get the squashes in there, get a couple of 6 to 8 minute sprints, and yeah, one or two proper length matches.
And as you say, I'd imagine the Steiners v Steiner Luger match will be lengthy.
Yeah, or probably without the definitive finish that I expect this one to have.
Yes.
Spine
The Spine
Buster.
Buster, and he floats over rather than rolling away as he normally does. Arn Anderson floats over, gets the cover, and Robert Gibson has to make the save.
Did you see that WWE social media post last week? I want to say it was very recent, where they had the audacity to ask their followers on social media who had the better spine buster, and they offered up a list of different wrestlers' spine busters, and it didn't include Arn Anderson.
Well, that's because he works for AEW now and doesn't
I
count.
know, but the ratio on that social media, it was just absolutely littered with people saying, yeah, Arn Anderson, Arn Anderson, Arn Anderson, where's Arn Anderson? And let's face it, I know there's the politics of you don't want to be actively promoting to where actual money's on the line, but if you're gonna have a streaming service, right now we're watching WCW on the WWE network. If you're gonna have all these archives of that, you've got to be capable of acknowledging actual history, especially in a simple little tweet.
Or if you don't want to acknowledge people who work for the opposition as such, don't have a poll about who's got the best spine buster when you know that a large proportion of people will say Arn Anderson.
I can't wait for him to run a poll on the best DDT where they leave out Jake the Snake. Because he shows up on one episode of Dynamite every 3 weeks.
Exactly.
It's so petty.
Although Michael P.S. Hayes has a good one, but obviously no one was as good as Jake.
Ironically, Arn Anderson would rank pretty highly on that list as well.
He would, yeah. I very nearly took the DDT from Jake the Snake, but I didn't. The FWA.
Was it because he was arrested before the appearance? Or?
No. He was at the show, and I was the heel manager in the main event. And the idea was, we'd be bringing Jake. Anderson goes for, so Ricky Morton went for a 3 count. My commentator's instinct of not talking over the 3 count. No, we were going to be using him in the FWA for several shows, and then there was a disagreement before the show began, and basically they decided that they were just using him for that one show, and that was it. And so they basically got him to DDT the ref and put a stake on the ref instead of me, because they basically said he's not going to come back to the next show. You are, so we don't want to. We want to keep your heat. So I like that. Which all makes perfect sense. Don't get me wrong. I completely understand and agree with what they did. But at the same time, it's a shame he gets taken DDT.
Arn Anderson still keeping him separate. Is this a DDT? Heenan's left the booth apparently.
Because you said about him managing.
Yes.
So Heenan going to ringside.
It's not a DDT attempt. It's just a really long front face
it's
lock.
A front face lock, a grovet as it's known in the UK. And Heenan's gone up to Woman and Liz in leather. And he's looking very smug, and he's now walking back.
He's done the old American football thing of just depositing a play from the playbook on them, I believe. Because you see, Arn himself does like the American football thing on. If you watch Dynamite, he has like a little
clip.
like a dossier of plays, and then he brings it up over his mouth so no one can see what he's saying to Cody. Little American football touches like that. So the hot tag has finally been made.
Yes.
We were both excited to get that one out.
Well, did you see that? The way that Gibson was going to go for a drop kick, didn't get his footing right, or Anderson held back, and so he just transitioned into a back elbow.
That was nice, yeah.
Just covered it really, really well.
It was also hard to tell if it was a fake of a drop kick or a super kick, but it now makes me want to see someone like the Young Bucks do that. Like fake a super kick but land a quick back elbow and then carry on the offense.
And Gibson's trying to roll Flair up on the road. Oh, there's Woman.
Oh, she feels much better now.
She's much better. Yeah. Now she's been able to cheat.
And that gets an arm drape over cover from Flair. Woman cheating, Arn DDT, and everything is right with the world, Dean.
Indeed, all is well. Oh, and as I say, all is well. My stream just cut out for a second, but I am back.
You're gonna hang in there.
I may be a second or two behind you now, but yes.
If it's a second, we can cope with that.
Yes. We're just seeing the replay now of Woman scratching the eyes of Gibson and hitting the DDT, and that is all you need.
And they're giving Heenan the assist for that.
Yeah.
5 minutes prior, he came and whispered in their ear.
Sound the Mean Gene with Woman klaxon.
So Arn with a Stephen Michael jersey beforehand. Because they did a thing where he was struggling to get this jersey off before the match.
Oh, he was, wasn't he? Yes.
He's saying he's too big and thick to be a footballer.
His 10-year-old kid would have struggled to get that shirt over his head, apparently. So he's saying they're bigger than American footballers. Their necks are thicker.
Where in the devil did you get that jersey? From a store, Mean Gene. You can buy them pretty much anywhere, even before the internet.
Yes.
Flair's still got a hankering for Deborah.
Oh, Flair's gone nuts.
Flair's gone Flair.
Flair's gone Flair. But he's also creating a separation between woman and Mean Gene, which must make her sad. He's all night long, Liam.
Classic Flair promo. Here's the brain.
You don't get a character like could you do a character like Ric Flair nowadays in the world we live in nowadays, or would it be considered wrong, shall I say?
I mean, you and I have often said there's plenty of room in wrestling for horrible characters. They just have to get their comeuppance.
Yes.
A great modern example is the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, on which has been running for 16 years and counting, and is full of some of the skits and the things the characters do and the people the characters are they're horrible people, but they never get the better. They always end up worse off because they are horrible people and they never prosper.
I see. So.
And one of them's just bought Wrexham, by the way.
Yeah. And so what's Heenan saying here? So, Heenan says he'll never manage again, and Flair is screaming, "What about the girls? What about the girls?" It's a different time, Liam.
Now he's opening a briefcase.
Yeah. What's he got? He's got the All Madden trophy. I'm not familiar with what that is, but he's keeping it far away from the camera. Oh, he's not going to manage them, but he's going to coach them.
They're just going full on with the American football mannerisms. They're going to lose us a little bit, but
yeah. But I like the fact that he's got that trophy that he kept far away enough from the camera that you couldn't see what was written on there. Well, Flair's off again.
He's only had 2 sips of champagne.
Yes. Old woman is within flirting distance of Gene, but she didn't touch him.
She was relatively well behaved.
And Mean Gene's been given a glass of champagne.
I think
well,
woman was just annoyed that Mean Gene was going around interviewing everyone else that night.
Yeah. There's Hogan again. I don't understand why we're getting lots of Hogan clips when he's nowhere to be seen.
Especially considered what he'd be the next time he does show up.
Yeah. You'd think you'd want people to kind of just forget about him for a moment to
Oh, we can't handle that.
Hey, when Poochie's not in the room, Liam.
He can handle it, yeah, he can handle that about as well as he can handle his daughter dating specific types of people, apparently.
Another Glacier promo.
Yes.
He's known them for quite some time.
I am a massive fan of making sure no one ever forgets what Hulk Hogan has said and done. As much as he'd like to shovel it under the carpet.
Brain is not managing, he is coaching.
He's already corrected Bischoff.
All their lives, they've had 18 coaches telling them what to do. Wrestling's different.
And he called them palookas, which is instant
Yeah.
points.
Well, Bischoff saying the deck is stacked against McMichael and Green.
We'll have to cover that pay-per-view soon, won't we?
We will. And that was the one that's where McMichael joins the Horsemen, isn't it?
Oh, you spoiled it.
Sorry.
It's
for
another
fuck's sake,
Hogan
we've got
promo.
Another Hogan promo.
It's like they know I'm trying not to swear this episode.
I just swore for you.
Thank you. You're a good friend.
I try my best.
Oh my word! What is? It's getting ridiculous. I suppose they're showing us this while they quickly deposit another round of Hulk Hogan merchandise to the front row.
Yeah. And they show him slapping Vader in the face.
Oh, Hogan and Vader had a couple of good matches. Well, when he was finally willing to actually work with Vader.
And one-man gang.
Remember, we covered Super Bowl 5 that opened with the infamous Paul Roma Alex Wright match, and it closed with Hogan Vader. They're at a spot where they actually no-sold each other's finishers, which was kind of cool because they did it to each other, that sort of thing. Just a natural rivalry, wasn't it? Hogan and Vader.
But it was just the match you thought you wouldn't see, basically. I don't know why we've got so much look at Hulk Hogan, everybody, on this show. It's like it's as if they're filling for time to fill up a 2-hour show.
Yeah, I think without all this guff, I think it would have been an hour episode of Nitro.
I think we could have had, rather than having this, we could have had another 2 minutes of the Faces of Fear beating up High Voltage.
Yeah, a couple more belly-to-belly superplexes. That was a good squash. That was really, really good for a squash.
I mean, they gave them a couple of offensive moves at the beginning, and then they took over.
I was even willing to give it. You were right about their one-trick pony selling, but considering the fact that they were being repeatedly dumped on their backs, I was even willing to give them a pass for that. It's like, you want to arch your back? Here you go, arch your back after this. Belly-to-belly superplex.
Yes. And here comes Ice Train, one of the alumni of the awesome 1993 Halloween Havoc 6-man tag opener.
And as it turns out, a friend of the podcast.
Yes, a friend of Doug Williams, no less.
Maybe that might lead to an interview. We'll have to just keep begging, won't we?
I think so.
Please
I reckon we'll get
ask him
Ice
if
Train
he'll come on the podcast. Please, sugar on top.
Hang on. Didn't we slag him off on here before we realised he was a friend of Doug's?
I mean, I'll stand by any criticisms I've made. I think I've proven to myself to be pretty fair and case by case. But if you actually came on the podcast, I'd be nice as pie.
Of course. Here comes the Giant, everyone.
So I wonder if Ice Train's going to win this one.
But look, this is back in the day where Paul White could actually strap a belt around his waist.
Ronald McDonald soon put pay to that.
And Dr. Marlborough.
But
actually, they that won't make you fat.
I was going to say, I thought they were supposed to make you slim. Not that I'd ever know because I find them repulsive, but
yes,
maybe I could do with them.
So obviously Ice Train is a very big lad in his own right, but he is dwarfed by the Giant, which is obviously the point of this.
They've been spot on with their opponent selection for the Giant on TV, haven't they? They have had him manhandling other big men just to really establish. Because they had that recent one-upsmanship thing, didn't they, between him and his next challenger, Lex Luger, where you see him lift up a big man
yes.
for a choke slam, and then Luke would hoist up a big man in the rack.
Yes. I remember that now.
Intense stare down.
Yeah, Ice Train is looking like he's psyching himself up. This is a very good non-verbal storytelling right now. And Jimmy Hart grabs his leg to distract him.
Oh, wow.
And this might be it. It's just grabbed him for a choke slam, and he's down. And the most nonchalant cover you'll ever see in your life, leaning back and doing a double bicep pose, and that's it.
Tell you what, Ice Train might as well be called Southeastern Railways, because he was a very... Oh, here's Scott Norton.
Oh.
Taking umbrage with the cheap Jimmy Hart tactic, and I guess setting up our next big man opponent.
Yeah. Oh, and here comes the Giant, and he's now grabbed Norton, and the next big man opponent is choke slams to the floor.
Here's a bit of advice, Eric Bischoff. If you're going to do the commentary thing of, oh, he can't do it, he can't get him up, don't say it when he's in the middle of the air. And the only way is down from there. So
here come the paramedics.
Yeah. And some... I was going to say, there's a couple of indie wrestlers or trainees there.
Well, I thought they were there to get choke slammed.
Yeah.
Obviously not.
Oh, and here's Mean Gene again.
Bloody hell, Mean Gene, you're all over the place.
Oh. And if Poochie's not in the room, everyone should be asking Dean.
Where's Poochie?
Yeah. So he takes umbrage with the Hulk Hogan videos.
I'm the one who eliminated him. Oh yeah, the Macho Man's nowhere to be seen at the moment, is he? Oh, he's saying he wants to eliminate Luger next. Ah, because Luger got between him and Jimmy Hart.
It's a bit of tacked on storytelling there, isn't it? Because that's not really been how they've weaved the story.
Credit where it's due, Ice Train got himself up really well for that choke slam.
You think they'd be Lee? Oh, so Scott Norton was actually meant to wrestle Hugh Morris next. I was going to say you'd think they'd lead to another impressive squash match for the Giant, but you have to wonder if that's even necessary now.
So Scott Norton's lying flat on his back with a trainer beside him. And the trainer is checking his pulse for some reason. I don't know what that's going to help with. So we've got Scott Norton prone in the ring and Hugh Morris coming down for his match with Scott Norton, which, as you say, Liam, we presume isn't going to happen.
And his stablemate, the Giant, has done him a massive solid.
Oh, of course, yes.
Do you know what? I'm just glad with Bill DeMott coming to the ring. I'm just glad those trainees have gone.
So it's a good point, well made.
Take the swearing away and I'll just get vicious in other ways.
Yeah. Did the bell ring?
So he's immediately pouncing on Norton with a leg drop, and I guess we're having this match after all.
Scott Norton's going to have this match whether he wants to or not. I believe is the phrase.
Yeah,
So I didn't do a bad American accent with it, did I?
Hooked on Wrestling interviewed the young girl now grown up who did that British Bulldog line, didn't they?
They did.
You remember that?
Yes. The young girl who everyone thought was a young boy for years, and then discovered it was a girl. Now, what's going on here? We've got Hugh Morris elbowing Scott Norton, but not covering him.
Yeah, he did a pinky finger cover and then pulled it off at 2. So they're trying to put over that Hugh Morris is deranged. Don't worry, his professional disciplinary reports that future employers will show us that.
Oh dear.
It's shooting fish in a barrel, isn't it?
I think he's getting ready for the chokes now. Well, Scott Norton's getting up. Scott Norton is waiting for him to miss his moonsault. Oh dear, that was.
He was going to try and catch a moonsault, but he couldn't. Oh wow, that was ugly.
He should have just let him miss, and then
yeah, that was ugly.
Did you see how Norton slaps him in the face and looks rather pissed off? I'm not sure if that was. I think that was legit. As you say, he doesn't look happy with something.
I think Scott Norton is about as big a fan of Hugh Morris as he is of North Korea. That may have been a bit too inside baseball. But yeah, read. Everyone listening, really do read Nitro.
I was going to say that the North Korea show is going to be one of the season 3 of Dark Side of the Ring episodes.
That'll be fun.
So we've just had a brief strategy session between Mongo McMichael and Kevin Green, which is basically the blind leading the blind. You'd think they'd get a babyface wrestler in to be their coach.
Yeah, I mean, but who is available? Who cannot actively wrestle and who hates Ric Flair? My mind's blanking.
Yeah.
There must be someone.
We'll think someone. So we've still got Sting and Luger with the Steiners. Oh, here we go. We have got a longer look now at McMichael and Green's coaching, which I think we've seen before. Oh no, this is different.
Now this one's different because it's going to be even more cringe. Though I do love seeing all the old school pay-per-view posters up on the wall of the Chi-Town Rumble and old Full Brawls at the power plant.
There,
yeah.
Just like to say that the subtitles called him Margo.
I preferred Mango.
Not as good as Mango. So Kevin Green is now coaching Mongo in doing a 3-point stance on a wrestler. This is cringe. You're right. But hey, he can rip a can of Diet Coke in half. That's what he can do. He's snapping into a Slim Jim. Is that a hint?
I think it might be.
But Arn Anderson's got that DDT.
Just when you thought we were free of listening to Mongo talk now, he's not on commentary.
Yeah, I know. I want to know where Pepe the dog is. He's the forgotten dog of WCW. He's just been furloughed, basically.
That poor dog. Maybe he's going to dress Kevin Green the way he dressed the dog.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, here we go.
This promo. Although they've decided they need a manager or a coach. He's looked at the Slim Jim.
He's still suspended from wrestling, but they can get him as a coach.
He can manage, yeah. Now, the worrying thing with that was they would have done multiple takes of that, and that was the best they could get Mongo to do.
I think
And he was a
Heenan's gone
commentator.
silent.
Here come the Steiner Brothers, Rick, and Scott, who just looks like, I'm not sure if he can't be arsed or he's just angry, or both.
He's just week after week, he just gets more and more disgruntled with the fact that he has to, presumably, he has to slap the hands of fans and. Big Papa Pump is just like begging to come out at this point, isn't he?
Yeah, not like that.
Here's food for thought for you on the entrance theme situation. The Steiners came out to that lame duck Steinerized theme tune. Yep. And it was followed by a man called Sting, another lame song. But more importantly, not only are they both lame, but they may as well be the same song, because it took me a long time to realise that the tune had changed. But that's how similar they are.
Yeah, I was just about to say, before you did that, I was just about to say how the DJ had seamlessly blended the two tunes in. But yeah, it does point out how they're clearly written by the same bloke, because they sound very similar.
I don't think we've got DJ Ran on Nitro just yet, thankfully.
No? Oh, it's a shame.
So this is a tag team championship match.
Yes, belts are on the line. So, I mean, based on what we've been saying, I don't know how much longer these belts are going to be remaining around the waist of Sting and Luger, but I can't see them changing the title on Nitro. I'd imagine it'll be a pay-per-view, but you never know.
Agreed. But meanwhile, Macho Man is trying to call into the show. I'm not making this up.
Why is he trying to phone into? Oh, I see. It's Savage. Sorry. The Macho Man is on the phone. He's out of control, though, Liam.
He is. Well, he's not there because he's suspended and he can't wrestle.
Yeah. Can you wrestle? Nope.
And the wrestlers are having to go super slow to start because they're doing this aside. But he's confirming that he will coach Mongo and Green.
Can I just say, at the very point you said the wrestlers are being told to go slow, Scott Steiner hit a tilt-a-whirl slam on Sting.
He hates me more than he hates the fans.
Yeah. Well, Heenan now is on the phone to Macho Man. Heenan's got nothing against him, apparently.
Bischoff found that hilarious.
Yes. Bischoff's been seen on screen wearing his glasses. He must hate that. So Heenan is saying, I won't bother you if you don't bother me. and Macho Man says it's the weakest thing I've heard in my life. Bischoff's loving this. Heenan's got his head in his hands.
Right, we may switch to the actual match now they've done that.
Yeah.
To think they could have run that promo separately instead of 5,000 Hulk Hogan promos.
Exactly. But why didn't they do that?
Nope.
Because WCW.
WCW. It's been a while since we've pulled off that one, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've now got Luger and Rick Steiner in the ring.
Is that Rick Steiner or a zebra?
Half a zebra.
Half a zebra, sorry.
And apparently, I don't know if you read this week that Rick Steiner's son has been training at the Performance Center.
Yep. He was drafted by one of the NFL sides, but he was cut. And when I saw the news, that I thought to myself, how long is it before he makes the obvious transition? And there he is. He's starting the journey.
So that
Flying
basically means
bulldog.
what? He wasn't picked up by an NFL team.
Yeah, they'll draft large rosters of players, but they'll make cuts during the off season. Because you'll remember the same process happened to Brock Lesnar.
Oh yes.
He was cut quite early. They didn't see a future for him. But the UFC did, and that was much more down his alley, wasn't it?
Definitely.
Especially as they let him juice to his gills.
Sorry, just to interrupt, but Sting has come in and is just a million miles an hour. First move was a Stinger Splash. Second move was a Scorpion Deathlock on Rick Steiner. But Scott Steiner made the save and clotheslined Sting to the canvas. And now Rick has tagged him in. So now it's Scott and
Rolling
Sting.
Thunder Suplex. I didn't think he actually started doing that until the latter days. But that spinning belly to belly, I love that move.
No, he'd been doing that for ages. He was doing that. I'm sure he did that in that match against the Nasty Boys. He'd been doing that a while.
I can't even say I remember that.
Oh, top rope Frankenstein.
With snap.
And Luger makes the save. I've not seen Scott Steiner do a top rope Frankenstein before. I'm sure I haven't. Unless we're both having some kind of Scott Steiner move amnesia right now.
This is just big move after big move. Now that the Savage thing has ended, this is going breakneck speed. But on your point about
Sting just hit what turned out to be a Scorpion Death Drop before it was a Scorpion Death Drop.
On the top rope Frankensteiners, Scott started doing them more frequently as he got older, and it was not possible for him to do the classic one. He would always get a pop for doing it in like 99, 2000 every now and then, and he loved to bust it out in big TNA matches.
Right.
Because it was a bit easier and safer to do.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Luger went to got Rick Steiner up in the, got Scott Steiner up in the Torture Rack, but literally within seconds of doing that, Rick Steiner made the save.
Bit of psychology and storytelling there, because just like last week, Luger went for a suplex on the outside and it was broken up by a Rick Steiner cheap shot. That was all the stuff they were arguing about in that little segment.
Yes, indeed.
Things are breaking down now.
Yeah, this isn't very friendly, is it?
I mean, this is all well and good. This is a good little storyline, apart from the fact that Sting and Luger have two entirely different things at the pay-per-view. They want people to spend money to watch. Oh. No, not the banquet table. Please, not the banquet table.
They've got a security guard there.
Oh, thank heavens. Here's the Giant.
Oh,
he goes for Rick Steiner. Oh, that was ugly.
Oh, blimey, that didn't work well, did it?
Rick Steiner did not want to take the bump. Yeah, Rick did not want to take that back bump, did he?
Not on the. The cameraman's just
bumped better than Rick Steiner.
Yes. So the Giant is in the ring and now getting beaten up by Luger. Is it Luger and Giant for the world title?
For the title, yes. And it's getting a big pop that Luger's fighting back, because the crowd have seen what Giant has done to everyone else. Fire and Ice, the Steiners. It's a big deal that Luger is going toe-to-toe with him.
Giant misses a charge into the corner, and now Sting and Scott Steiner are joining in. Everyone's basically beating the Giant up.
To a huge reception. He has
Yeah.
reunited the old friends who were at each other's throats.
Like 2 minutes ago. And Luger with that big forearm, the forearm that's got a steel plate in it, of course, from his bike crash.
This is, even though they couldn't deliver an actual match finish, this is quite the finish to the show.
I think this is a better finish in many ways.
Well, because they built the entire premise, the threat of the giant, the situation between those involved, the crowd popped huge. It paid off.
Well, we've got a pay-per-view coming up. Maybe one of our forthcoming guests could review this with us.
Yeah. We'll try and get the timing sweet if we can, but that'd be a good one to do. We've already done Bash at the Beach, obviously, but Great American Bash is a great show. I think we've pondered this out loud already. We'll try and get the time. Oh, here's someone we saw last week.
Oh, hello. Yes.
I was wondering if he'd show up.
Here comes Scott Hall in his denim outfit again. Double denim.
Still very much Razor Ramon, by the way.
Yes. Just relax, Chico.
Called him Kendo again.
He had such a good time last week. He came back for more. You started it.
The implication is heavy.
Start it. Yes.
But
what do you mean we? You know who? Yeah.
All Sting's come over.
Oh. Sting, one man who's never been to WWE at this point, or WWF at this point in time, of course. I love the way Bischoff goes, don't even dignify it, and then puts a microphone under his nose. And Sting is now confronting Scott Hall.
You're in the jungle, he says to Scott Hall.
This is WCW, the jungle.
I mean, the main reason WWE would not have liked this isn't because it's copyright infringement, but because it's actually exciting TV.
And the challenge is being laid down for a 6-man tag.
Bischoff does not want it, trying to really play up the... Of all the things that are settle it in the ring, and Bischoff is like, no, we can't do this.
Yeah.
Really set, especially at the time, it really sets this aside, doesn't it?
Yes, and he's looking at the camera like, can we cut this off? And yeah.
Oh, toothpick to Sting.
Did he carry on with the toothpick, or did he get rid of that?
Eventually, that's one of the things that they had to move off to avoid hot water.
Yeah. So his Sting slapped him in the face, and the police are here now.
Here we go. Big surprise for Sting next week.
Yeah. We know what that will be.
Oh, yes.
Well, it looks like that brings this episode of Monday Nitro to a close. And I have got to say, a definite big thumbs up for me.
There's absolutely a couple of hiccups along the way, and there's definitely a little bit more of a drag at times compared to the 1 hour episode. But yeah, absolutely, far more good than bad. We listed at length what those were. The variety of things is really important. You had 2 marquee matches, a ton of squashes. When people say, should we go back to TV shows in wrestling having loads of squash matches, I think the answer is in this episode, no. But you can have some. Mix it up.
Yeah.
Change it up.
And the thing is, the what we're calling, and what were squash matches, it wasn't with, John Smith, who you've never seen before. It was with contracted talent, but obviously lower level talent. I mean, and having said that, someone like Ice Train, who has been competitive, has had wins before, the fact that he's beaten like he's beaten just emphasises things for the Giant.
Yeah, and it's no harm to him because he's a tag team wrestler with Scott Norton now.
And they got Jimmy Hart interfering to help things along.
Exactly.
So yeah, just because I always like to. It's over on the other side on WWF, I should say, Monday Night Raw, which is still an hour at this point in time. They had a King of the Ring qualifying match, which was Steve Austin when he was the ringmaster beating Bob Holly with the $1 Million Dream. So that kind of dates that, tells you where things were with Steve Austin at that point. Of course, this King of the Ring tournament was where Austin 316 would be born, and from there things took off massively. Mankind beating Barry Horowitz, Phineas Godwin and Henry Godwin beating Techno Team 2000, and Jake Roberts beats Hunter Hearst Helmsley in another King of the Ring qualifying match. So I think definitely thumbs up to Monday Nitro that week.
Yeah, I enjoyed that show, and it's going to be interesting to see how we get along with regular 2-hour shows, but that one was worth watching. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so next week we have a main event of the World Tag Team titles are on the line again, with Sting and Luger this time defending against Flair and Anderson. We got another tag team match, which is, I think this probably be the second time they've met at this point in time, the Public Enemy and the Nasty Boys. Lord Steven Regal is in action again. Giant is against Scott Norton for the world title, so that's obviously been set up last week. And another match that was set up this week, Squire David Taylor and Jim Duggan. We've also got Sting against Meng, that'll be good. DDP and Jim Powers, and Booker T v Scott Steiner. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches from Wheeling, West Virginia.
So it looks like Squire David Taylor against Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Jim Duggan is looking for revenge over that no good Dave Taylor stopping him from committing murder on live TV.
Indeed. And of course, we'll have an appearance at some point during the show of Scott Hall with his big mate.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't say his big mate. He said he's got a big surprise. So thanks for spoiling it, Dean. Way to go, Ayas.
25-year-old spoilers. But of course, isn't that the interview where Kevin Nash says, look at the adjective, play?
Oh, maybe. Would this be the first instance of something from our introduction being on? We haven't done Shockmaster. We haven't done Viagra on a pole match yet. I don't think we'll ever get to Viagra on a pole match because I'm not enduring 2 years worth of 3-hour nitros to get there.
Yeah. So yes, I think it will be. Well, there you go.
So I've got to say though, not only has this been a good watch along, Dean, it's been a lot of fun, but I'm really glad I went for the no swear version. I've got to say, I feel absolutely fucking great.
Oh, yeah, but we've stopped watching Nitro now, so this is the epilogue. Maybe you can get away with it there.
Probably not, especially as I don't foresee this ever happening again. It was tough, especially when Hogan showed up every 5 minutes.
Oh God! Well, I swore for you. That was terrible. Well, yes. Well, that does bring, before Liam starts swearing again. That does bring this episode of Because
like Father Jack
to a close. If you enjoyed this, please do go online, rate and review us, subscribe to us from wherever you get your podcasts from, and you can follow us on Twitter at BecauseWCW or on Facebook, facebook.com/BecauseWCW. We'll be back very soon. We're just lining up a couple of guests with pay-per-view reviews, or maybe it'll be a clash. Who knows? We've got them opening up as well. But it'll be another episode that'll be a lot of fun, looking back over the crazy world of WCW. So on behalf of Liam Happ, this is me, the Twisted Genius, saying thank you for listening, and we'll see you ringside.